This is Bonnie, and she is a managing partner or
Partner.
Okay, partner of 500 startups. And why don't you tell us a little bit about 500 startups?
Well, for those of you who may not know us very well, 500 Startups is one of the most active global seed stage investors. We began in 2010, hoping that someday we can invest in 500 companies. And fast forward 8 years, we have been very lucky. By now, we have over 2,000 companies in our portfolio. So too late to change our name, but perhaps our next aspiration is 500 companies per year.
Wow, that would be impressive. So you invest in companies all around the world or mostly in Southeast Asia?
We have teams in Silicon Valley, of course, in Mexico, covering South America, in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, here in Thailand, in Japan, Korea. So we've got eyes and ears everywhere. And that's the one belief and vision we have, is we believe that smart founders will come from every corners of the world. And as an investor, we better be there first and early to find them while they're not too expensive.
That's a very good point. In the beginning, the opening remarks yesterday, we talked about this was kind of a period of a bear market, maybe even low morale. How do you see the state of the industry right now? Are you seeing a sluggishness around startups, or is there something going on behind the scenes that you'd like to let other people know about that's more exciting?
I love the fact that now every conference recently you go to, everyone's like, oh, this is a bear market. And for sure, in the tech cycle, I think it's Gartner who coined it. It's called the value of disillusionment, right? But for investors, it's actually a great time. I think for us, what we're looking at finally is a little bit of breathing room, and also we're starting to see who's been swimming naked all this time.
Yeah.
And in essence, a lot of the teams, from our observation, right? I know a lot of people are talking about how secondary market is impacting them. But coming from the US side, ever since the beginning of this year, majority of our investments in the blockchain space, all the teams, because of advice from legal, right? For those of us who live in the US, we are very scared of the SEC. Nobody wants to deal with the law or any lawyers. So the moment that we hear, hey, the advice is that your token will not be considered utility until you have mainnet up and running and until you can show traffic on the mainnet. Most of the investments are all in the very traditional format, convertible notes. Some of them call it SAFT, Simple Agreement for Future Tokens, but essentially it's still a note for a promise of at some point in time when they actually launch the network, they will issue the token. So things have been like that since the beginning of the year for us in the US, and very regular is a Reg D, so automatic 12-month lockup for the investors, and teams should be heads down just building, right? At the moment, we are at a very critical junction where in the next 12 months or so, if we don't start delivering products, blockchain's not going to get realized. And very soon, I think, it's not even the value of disillusionment. It would just be a abandoned subject, So for us, we're actually more working with teams these couple months and also the next year or so, we expect, on helping them get to mainnet and helping them understand where they can apply a lot of the infrastructure protocols into businesses.
So it sounds like there's a lot at stake right now. Do you have any advice for startups or companies, projects that are just now getting realized?
Well, if you're only starting a project now, right, the downside is, yes, you have missed the whole crazy money part. So you can't really do a 38-second raise for 20 million
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
So couple things, right? One side, yes, that's the downside. But second is you also don't have to go through the pains of some of these earlier teams, because while raising 30 million is great in 30 seconds, what you don't realize is what comes after, the pain of understanding you have no idea what treasury management is, how to manage your reserves, the money you have raised, because essentially, at least for every single team we've seen, engineers are still paid in dollars or fiats. So what you're running in the traditional world is you're running currency risk, right? You're collecting in a currency called, let's say, Ether, but your payouts are still in either US dollars or whatever local currency it is. And when startup teams first raise the money, 99% have no idea that they need to manage this risk. So what we're seeing also a lot of painful growth lessons of understanding, I raised 20 million, but all of a sudden teams are looking at that bank and say, how come I only have $2 million worth of money left? And the challenging side is that with tokens, right? If they go with the white papers, there is no second raising. It is a one-time raise. It is not like venture capital where you can go series A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So they have to now really think hard, what are they going to do with only perhaps 2 years runway left in the bank, and they can't raise again. So for teams coming in now, learn from these lessons, right? Learn from, figure out, how you can be creative to capture both sides, how you can be smart about still raising more. I mean, as if I stand from a founder's side, right, still raising more than just a non-blockchain project by riding a little bit of the tail end of the hype, but at the same time, be prepared early on how to manage that raise so that you truthfully can afford to have your team not worry about money for a very long time and go through the whole, what they call crypto winter without, sweating at all. Yeah.
So how much, when you're looking at investing in a project, how much equity do you look to put in? How much, what stake do you like to have in? What level?
Well, first of all, as a seed stage investor, because of the amount of investments we do every year, number one is we don't lead rounds. Number two is we don't take board seats, as simple as that. And if you run it through, and if you enter and get us to invest through our accelerator, it's very standard. So it's a $150K check for 6% of the company.
Okay, wow. Well, that's 500.co is the website if you want to look up and see what they're up to. Do you have any last things you'd like to say about what you're up to or the state of the market right now?
My last thought is, as much as we say it's a valley of disillusionment, we're still very bullish on the space.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. I appreciate your optimism and your enthusiasm. We share the same sentiments. Thank you so much for talking to us.